Hello, my name is Chris Stewart, and today I'll be discussing 4 important topics that are critical to leadership and organizational success: the problem-solving cycle, obstacles and aids to problem solving, critical thinking across the lifespan, and research on creative thinking in the workplace. At the end, I'll share a topic that I believe would be the most effective to implement in my organization through training, and why. So first of all, the problem-solving cycle. It's a structured, iterative process that leaders and teams use to identify, analyze, and solve problems. It typically involves these steps. First, identify the problem, determining what exactly is wrong. The second is to gather information. What facts or data do we have? The third is to generate alternatives and brainstorm potential solutions. The fourth is to evaluate alternatives, determine what the pros and cons of each are. The fifth is to select the best option, to choose the most effective and feasible solution. The sixth is to actually implement the solution, putting the plan into action. Lastly, monitor and review. Determine if it's working, what needs adjustment. Following this cycle ensures that decisions are rational, thorough, and based on evidence, not just emotions or assumptions. However, real-world pressures like time constraints and fear of failure can cause teams to skip steps, leading to poor outcomes. The second thing is obstacles and aids to problem solving. Obstacles to problem solving are common and can derail even the best ideas. Some examples include emotional obstacles, such as fear, anxiety, distrust. These can cloud judgment. In my workplace, for instance, fear of job loss has made team members hesitant to speak openly. Another thing to think about as far as an obstacle or aid to problem solving is cognitive biases. We tend to favor information that supports what we already believe. That's called confirmation bias, of course, or become overly focused on one solution, which is called fixation. Another obstacle is lack of follow-through. As I recently saw with the COO that I terminated, ideas were implemented but lacked accountability. And lastly, an obstacle is groupthink. So team members sometimes avoid conflict by just agreeing with each other too easily, preventing better ideas from surface because discussion stops. They just start agreeing with each other. On the other hand, aids to problem solving include clear key performance indicators, or KPIs, and accountability measures. These are metrics that help people keep focused. Another aid is psychological safety. When people feel safe, they share better ideas. Another aid is structured brainstorming, which helps teams think beyond the obvious solutions. And lastly, an aid is tangible rewards. Linking milestones to bonuses or recognition can sustain momentum. Generally, though, leaders need to actively remove obstacles and put these aids in place to create a true problem-solving culture. The third item is critical thinking across the lifespan. Critical thinking isn't static. It develops and evolves across the lifespan. For example, children's and adolescents, they're still developing basic reasoning skills and often think in black and white terms. They need exposure to multiple perspectives and decision-making opportunities to mature their thinking. Young adults are better able to consider nuance but may lack life experience. They often benefit from structured challenges that force analysis and prioritization. Middle-aged adults usually show their strongest critical thinking skills because of accumulated life and work experience. They can often integrate emotion and logic better than younger individuals. Lastly, older adults, while they may experience some decline in fluid reasoning, often excel at practical problem solving due to deep reservoirs of wisdom and pattern recognition. In the workplace, though, teams benefit when leaders recognize these developmental differences. A younger staff member may need more guidance to critically evaluate options, whereas a seasoned worker might intuitively grasp complexity but need to be challenged to avoid complacency. The research on creative thinking in the workplace highlights several important findings about creativity at work. Firstly, diverse teams tend to produce more creative ideas because they bring different viewpoints and challenge each other's assumptions. Psychological safety, again, plays a huge role. People are much more creative when they feel their ideas won't be ridiculed or dismissed. Time and space are also critical. When people are under constant time pressure or in hyper-structured environments, creativity declines. Giving employees flexibility and unstructured time for idea generation actually boosts innovation. Leadership style matters too. Transformational leaders, in other words, those who inspire, encourage, explore, and recognize effort, promote significantly more creative thinking than transactional, rule-focused leaders. One particularly interesting finding is that even simple interventions like creativity prompts, posing open-ended questions during meetings, can jumpstart better problem solving and idea generation. So which topic would I implement as training and why? Of these 4 topics, I would implement a training module focused on obstacles and aids to problem solving in my organization. Why would I do this? Because right now, fear, distrust, and lack of accountability are the biggest issues preventing effective problem solving in my team. We have enough ideas. We're not lacking creativity, but the environment is emotionally charged and there are no strong follow-through systems in place. So how would I implement it? I would create a half-day workshop where we openly discuss common obstacles like fear and bias and what it feels like to encounter them. We would also introduce aids like setting KPIs, building accountability charts, and creating action plans linked to incentives like performance bonuses. Finally, I would model vulnerability and psychological safety myself, encouraging open, non-punitive discussion about mistakes and failures. The goal would be to rebuild a culture that allows problem solving to thrive, not just as a technical skill, but as part of how we operate daily. So in closing, I do want to thank you for listening. Addressing obstacles and enabling aids to problem solving will not only improve daily operations, but also strengthen our culture for the long term. I look forward to implementing this and seeing positive changes within my team.